welcome to my channel. I'm Anarchy, and I'm a digital artist and a novice one-of-a-kind doll customizer. I'm so excited to be debuting with this project that's been in the making for quite some time now. With that, let's bring this creation to life. For this custom, I wanted to use this Create a Monster doll for its scaly features, as my two main inspirations for this creation was Kim K's Halloween look and Doechii's new album, Alligator Bites Don't Heal, both which feature an albino alligator. To start things off, I'll be wiping the whole doll down, as she's not only a pre-loved dolly, but been in storage for the better part of 7 years and is quite dirty, as you saw. Her screening, although a little wonky, I think is still very beautiful. Also, it was very satisfying to take her apart. I kinda wish all Monster High were like this. After taking her apart, I'll wipe off all the designs with 100% acetone and quickly wipe those spots clean, as the acetone will melt her plastic body. I was actually very hesitant to record me doing this, but I knew I needed the footage, but I could actually feel the plastic coming off on a cotton swab, and I was very anxious this entire process. Looking back, I feel like I didn't really need to remove the green because of how many layers of sealant and paint I did, but I guess I just chose to do it in the moment. For my favorite part of prep, I'll let a soaked cotton rest on her screening before swiping away. Not only is it satisfying, but makes things much quicker. Removing the screening has always been my favorite part of prepping a doll head, but not only that, this method is just so much easier and way less messy than smudging the screening around all over the face. I think the sculpt for this doll is very beautiful. I love taking a second to admire a blank face before working on it. With all my prepped pieces, it's time to seal them up with 2 layers of MSC for the face and 2 layers of sealant for the body parts. With my prepped head on a peg, I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap for protection while I make a wig cap. I'll be using my limited paper mache knowledge to create a cap made of paper towel pieces and watered down Mod. This was also experimental, as I didn't really have any other material that wouldn't be too thin and require so many layers of glue that I didn't really want to wait for. So I filmed this not knowing if it'd fail. After all the paper pieces are applied in shape, I add more glue to hold it down and spend a good bit adjusting until I felt confident in how it would dry. It was this moment that I kinda had a little mini heart attack, because I was just convinced that the glue had seeped through the plastic wrap and was ruining this face. Letting the cap dry, I'm going to use 2-part epoxy clay, which admittedly is really old, and foreshadowing, I run into some issues because of this, which, for ease, I kept off camera. I then begin applying clay in the areas I want modified, which leads me into this doll's design. I've been working on many characters and their stories. This doll is a part of that. After seeing Kim K's costume and Doechii dropping her new album, this character's story just sprung to me. Although she only shares Kim K's appearance, I like to believe she possesses the spirit of Alligator Bites Never Heal, as that's about the extent of the influence they have on this doll. Note her very unusual attire. That will come later. While the clay is still wet, I'm going to use unorthodox sculpting tools to create a rough outline for the alligator body sculpt. This includes lines on the stomach, neck, and back, simplifying Kim K's skills. I am a really bad influence with not wearing gloves while working with epoxy sculpt. I know you are supposed to wear it, and I do recommend that you do so because these chemicals can be very harmful to people who may have sensitive skin. For me personally, I feel like the gloves just get in the way and I can't really work with them, so I just choose not to work with them. So if you see me working without them, that's my reason. What's so funny to me about this whole process is I actually do have sculpting tools with silicone nubs. I just cannot find them. So I literally just used whatever I had around, and the results are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's perfect to me. Letting all the clay dry, I'll move back to the wig cap, which has fully dried by now. So I'll mark where I want to reduce it, then remove and trim it, occasionally putting it back on to reevaluate my adjustments for the perfect fit. I remember being incredibly excited to see the results of this experimental wig cap, and I definitely will be using this method in the future. Moving back to the body mods, I'm adding epoxy clay to the thighs, legs, and arms, as well as the hands. This project was very ambitious and modification heavy, something I wanted to challenge myself with as my official debut on YouTube, as I wanted to showcase not only the skills I've been practicing, but the world and its stories I've been working on for years, which is why I'm so excited for the months to come, as I already have a catalog of projects I've lined up. After all clay parts have been sculpted and dried, it's time I make the armature for the tail and apply clay to it, which will later be inserted to the back hole. My original design shows that this character has a smaller tail. There was just something inside me that told me to make this tail larger, and it ended up almost being the death of me because there were so many days where I just needed to get work done. And I did not want to finish this tail. It was just taking so much of my time, but I'm really glad that I finished it and I'm happy with the results. Letting the tail dry, I'll add some noodles to her back to sculpt some alligator spines, which will go down the tail as well. Before and during this whole sculpting process, I was researching and referencing real alligators. I didn't want to be 100% accurate. I knew I was going to lose a bunch of details, but I definitely wanted to try. I'll move on from that to the face mods, which is just 4 clay noodles sculpted into spine-like contours on the brows, cheeks, and forehead. This is also a nod to the complexity of Kim K's effects makeup, which I continue to wet and smooth out with my fingers to get the clay as flush to the mold as possible. Now, because I get camera nervous and I'm bad at miniature sewing, I embarrassingly made her hospital gown off cam, which will be worn by gutted Claudine for now. After that, I used my fine-tipped Dremel bit to carve out all of the scaled details of this alligator. This includes the neck and stomach, all of the bends of her back, and all of the limb pieces. Keeping in mind, I'll be applying many layers of paint and sealant. I end up making the yarn wefts off camera as there's so many channels that show you how it's made. So let's move on to painting all of these body parts a warm color. This is like underpainting. This makes sure that the white I use won't appear dead or gray. I want this doll to feel alive, so I'll layer this color until plastic and clay look one and the same, except for the tail, as sculpting will take quite a while. I've also dry brushed dark brown into all the cracks for more depth, which get lost after painting and brushing on chalk pastels both body and the head, and I'll continue to blush those pieces. This was a very trust the process moment, as a lot of the chalk and the paint were looking very splotchy and it was taking a lot of layers to make it look one color, and I was panicking a little bit, but everything ended up turning out amazing. After the tail is done being sculpted and dremeled, we have something like this. As much trouble as this tail caused me, I'm very, very proud of it, which after giving it the same paint and sealant treatment, I'll dust and paint it to match the rest of the body. The finishing touches for all these pieces is OOAK's pearlescent powder. I'll spread this very generously as I am obsessed with the effect. It's gorgeous, and personally I think it breathes life into the clay. Just look at that shimmer. And now for my favorite part of the process, which is the face up. Using my own reference and a few references of real alligators, I start penciling in the scales and eyes of her. And although my original design has wider, more innocent eyes, I went for a more focused expression. After which I paint in the small details similarly to the body. This is done with acrylics. This process is several layers of blushing, painting, and sealant, with the topping of pearlescent shimmer. And my favorite part of all face-ups is the eye shines, which I cautiously add with the smallest brush I have, completing my work with Liquitex varnish on the eyes and lips for ultimate shine. With those prepped wefts, I use OOAK glue to attach each weft in a circle around her scalp until the very top. I create the parting left by adding glue and flipping it on itself, holding it down until it dries. I then add it to the wig and press down. It's not entirely perfect, but the best part about wigs is you can always change them. When the wig dries, I'll start microblading the hair. I'm aiming for a layered look, so I'll start with the fringe and then the side bangs, followed by chopping off the back and continuing to microblade until I'm satisfied. We're nearly done! All that's left to do is assemble the body piece by piece, being very careful as limb pegs are prone to bending and breaking. Once she's put together, I'll secure her tail by using my trusty OOAK glue, which took a while as her hole in the back of her body was deceptively deep. Now it's finally time to put everything together. During this time, I admire my work, basking in the feeling of completion as I look back on all it took to bring her to life, all of the struggles and everything that I've learned. But she wouldn't be complete without me telling her story. Born in a sterile lab, Subject 259 was never just a child. She was an experiment. From the age of 4, she endured relentless injections, each dose warping her humanity, sculpting her into something reptilian. Radioactive therapy hastened the transformation, her once soft skin hardening into scales, her eyes gleaming with an eerie, alligator-like glow. Yet she wasn't alone. Among 49 other children, her control group, she found solace in play, laughter, and the simple joy of coloring. But as her mutations grew more pronounced, fear crept in. Once her friends, the others began to shy away, their unease turning to avoidance. On her 18th birthday, she was transferred, along with a few similarly altered siblings, to a new unit, another control group, another chance to belong. Here, she met others like herself, each bearing the scars of experimentation, and here, a mysterious figure shattered the illusion of her upbringing, revealing the grim truth of the facility. Childhood wasn't supposed to be measured in vials and wires. Armed with this knowledge, 259 and her new kin forged a desperate plan. When the perfect night arrived, they seized their chance, breaking free into the unknown. But escape came at a cost, one they could never forget. This project has been so much fun to make. On top of showcasing skills I already have, I've also learned a lot of new skills since starting this doll. From making tiny clothes to sculpting and creating body modifications. I've enjoyed the whole process. What do you think of this doll? Of Subject 259 and her story? What should her name be now that she's free? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm so eager to know. And that brings us to the end of this video, but the beginning of so many more. Thank you so much for watching all the way through, and for being an Instagram supporter and helping me get through this entire project. With that, my next doll will be very whimsical in nature and much smaller in scale, and will be a part of a 2-part series, with the second part being a creative collaboration with another talented artist. So if you liked this video, give that like button a little forehead kiss. It lets the algorithm gods know you enjoyed it. And if you'd like to see more of my one-eyed face or just my creations, give that subscribe button a little kiss as well. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. I'll meet you here next time. Stay safe and be blessed.